The flight path completely dissecting military base into two equal halves, and we can just see the calmness before the storm as we head into the very first map from military base to Stolberg. The flight takes its route. That means areas like Georgiapol, Hospital, Zarki, shooting range, certain teams will be having a very tough affair if they are looking to jump towards the same area.
Absolutely, and right here, as we can clearly see, right off the bat on the military base itself, it seems like 2 to 3 teams are going to be calling the military base their home, and it seems like Seal 9 has had a fanned out approach right here, as they are definitely going to be looking pretty comfortable and on the screen as well. As we move on along towards the northern side of the map, we do have these teams slowly but surely getting themselves acclimated towards their own known drop locations, but that drop infestation is what I'm waiting for, dude, because that is where the masala is going to be brought on along, because we do want to see some early fights as well. The first blood, who's going to be bringing in that first blood, who's going to be given that opportunity, if at all any team will be allowed to do so. On the other front, as we talk about TRC, again, I mean, needs no introduction, a team that has been very well fanned out in terms of their approach in every single game. And talk about that zone, dude.
Wow.
The zone is going to be pushing the teams to come on down to the military base, have some fun,
There we have
have some gala time, because that is not going to last for long. And maybe, just maybe, the first map right here itself could bring us down to the zone, taking it all the way down towards those bridges. I mean, those are the kind of zones that I absolutely love to be a part of.
This is the South Asian Gala. This is going to be crazy affair. You just look at the circle, man. Completely downtown going towards the area of military base, and nobody can just stretch this circle onto the main island. This has to be 100% military base, or maybe Novorupnaya. That's just the southern island finish that we are heading towards, and if team realizes this at the very first point, they can have some real good shy. We have Savage Esports in Yasnaya Polyana, one team that comes out of Mongolia. We have certain big teams. If we talk about Mongolia, certain teams reminds me of that area. You remember Zeus Esports, how they used to dominate the lobby. We don't actually know if Savage Esports are going to replicate the same.
Well, we shall have to see. We shall have to see. And talking about early contestations, it seems like we do have Paradox's Ego not having a good fun time right now, because it is going to be Gunner from the side of Janmara who's going to be pushing on to try and get that point confirmed for himself. And as far as the teammates are concerned, I don't see his teammates, but he definitely has a really good pull into this fight, and it is going to be a first blood situation where Ego definitely is not going to be well equipped for this fight, and eventually he will be brought down to his knees, and it is going to be Gunner who seems to be getting that first blood in the game right off the bat in the first 3 minutes itself. It is going to be Janmara's Gunner taking that first blood, taking that first point, but now G1 from Paradox is going to be trying to push on along, and it is going to be the health that is not going to be favoring Gunner, because Gunner is down to 40% health, but G1 has taken that revenge right off the bat, and it is going to be a GG approach being showcased from Paradox as well as Janmara right here.
No, definitely. The event trades brought down, and one finish, G1. One finish onto already his name. Two casualty just out of the lobby, and we started things off with 64 players, but we really didn't expect that collision. We expected collision to happen, but didn't really expect that on the rocks of Prison it will actually rot, but that is what it is at the end of the day. One player each, and this time Paradox is looking a different team altogether, isn't it?
That is true. That is definitely true. I mean, even though Ego did not have a fun time as they jumped on down towards the prison area, but Janmara's approach also was pretty decent, I would say, because he just went on towards that aggressive stance, and that is something that we discussed earlier as well, right? From the side of Janmara, the team is known to be an aggressive stance playing team, and that is exactly what they showcased. On the other front, as we move on down towards the military base, it is going to be Steel 9. Saki taking some amazing shots, bringing down the players, bringing in those points for his team. But till now, the finish has not been confirmed. The elimination has not been confirmed, but Zaki's information, or rather his position, has certainly been given away. So he's probably going to be backing out of this fight. But let's see what his teammates are going to be doing, because he does have his teammates, if you look to the mini-map, onto his right-hand side as well. So that flank angle can very well help out the side of his line right here in this fight.
This is definitely a very good approach from C9 Esports. Just on the clock, if you see 4 minutes and 23 seconds, the C9 Esports got a knock onto Elementary Express. They also had one fight in the area of Prison, but for the moment it's not only just Para, it's also Jian Mara coming up into the fight. So Nepali teams out of all sudden, I mean, we have seen the sort of aggression that we have just talked about. They are coming up into the fight, but not rightly on the right side of the kill feed. And there we have it, Paradox getting one more on the name and G1 adding the second to his name. A very optimistic start, Paradox, that we were looking for, that we were also talking about. And I guess they will be at the end of 15 matches in the top 8.
Well, definitely going to be the case, but again, we should have to see if this sort of play being showcased from the side of Paradox is going to be retaliated from the next round. And right here, we do have Elementrix, who a couple of minutes ago were in the crosshairs of S9, but now they seems to have gotten away from that position. And then still do have all 4 players alive, but for how long is going to be the conversation against the side of Elementrix. Right here, we do have Liquid down to almost 30% HP. On the other side, we do have Sus, who is going to be moving away from that position on the bridge and trying to get back to his teammates. And that is where, of course, we shall hope that and get all 4 players set up for help. But right now, being in the water, being out in the open, is going to be a tough luck situation for the side of Sus. But let's see if any other teammates, or rather any other team on top of that bridge itself, could maybe bring him down. On the other side, as we did talk about his teammates, we do have Mr. Hyozu, who is certainly now getting his loot set up. It's only 6.5 minutes in, but definitely we can see quite a lot of aggressive gameplay being showcased from these teams.
No, definitely. It's just Nepali teams all around. Be it been on the kill feed, with the rotation, it has all been Nepali teams in the very first 6 minutes. And look at this, the way Kings of BT are just trying to move. We have Gremlin Storm's player pretty much in the same vicinity. I see Kapshi out there just trying to scout out the areas, and Seal 9 is not going to allow any team, because earlier it was Elementrix that tried to cross the bridge, and now it is gonna be, I guess, the Sri Lankan team NRC Esports, close to where military bridge is actually present. So all these teams are on the southern side. But if we talk about the gangsters, they are pretty much very far away, pretty much 3 kilometers away to where the teams are actually fighting those fences out. As we just mentioned all these teams, we have TRS Gaming out of nowhere in the scenes.
Well, they are setting themselves on to the bridge camp position. Perfectly set up stands going to be showcased on the side of the Real Soldiers players right here. And Rules is definitely going to be just, going to be free-flowing across from on this bridge from one beam to the next. And that is definitely going to be helping his cause, because his teammates are also right around the corner, giving him that flank angle. And very close towards that bridge is going to be this gas station, as we can see from the top view. And in that is going to be Dante from the sides of Kings of BD with a UMP. Now, talk about this gun, dude. This has been a killer gun, the UMP, along with, of course, the Mini 14 that we can see on Dante for now.
Definitely, but what Rules has just done, the parkour action, that needs a lot of practice. But Rules, having that angle is actually helping them a lot of information, and the amount of vicinity, the amount of landscape he can actually gather is just so mammoth. He's on the top of this, whatever you call this, a frame, the frame of the bridge. He's on the top of it, and he can actually see kilometers away from it. Any team, any player who is trying to aggress toward this area, you be better prepared.
Right here, Kings of BD's Dante is definitely being given a lot of leeway right here. He does know exactly where that player is, but he's not given away his position with the Mini. And that is something that definitely will help his cause, but we shall see for how long is he going to try and stay silent and quiet, because Kings of BD's Dante is on the move, he's on the run, and it seems like he will be allowed to get away with no problem at all. So he's going to back out of that position that he had in the gas station, and is going to go back to his teammates. There indeed, Dictator and Vexy and, of course, Mahfouz Bhai are just waiting across this compound, and here we go. So yeah, the players of DRS have definitely allowed the lad or Dante to move away from that position. On the other front now, Killer Whitey is going to be taking an approach into that gas station. So a very interesting fanned out approach that we can see from the side of the Real Soldiers, and they have a lot of information, but we will have to see if at all there'll be any other team that can stop them and bring them down to their knees, as they do have the bridge camp for now, but for how long, that needs to be raised.
Definitely. I guess Kings of BD just sense the threat, and as soon as they realize it, they completely just fallen themselves back away, and this is a very good approach on their side. But it's Kings of BD who knows, but as we just talked about it, it's Gangsters. One Gangster is already down. Nightwing takes him down. Oh no, not looking good. He will be finished as for sure. As now Venom Legends are just hunting the players down in the very first half of the game.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm very, very happy right now with this sort of performance coming in from the side of Venom Legends. This is the team that at one point in time I definitely kept on a high stance in my book, but over the games, over the tournaments, I've seen them lackluster a little bit, fall down a little bit, but it seems like this time around into the PMPL qualifiers, they are coming in with a bang and they're definitely showcasing that prowess. On the other side, talk about DG and their approach. Well, Gangster was definitely brought down, and of course, we do have blah 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 on the other side as well in the team. So it is a very good team, no question about it. The roster is definitely going to be working for them, but as of now in the first game, they have been brought down to a 3-man squad. With that, the first airdrop has been dropped on along in the 11th minute marker.
Not definitely, and we can see the urge with which the team are just trying to move downtown toward the side. But I guess I just spoke too soon. The circle with watch that has already made a shift. I guess half of the military base is out of the circle, isn't it, Lauda?
That is true, but dude, you know what? I did talk about this, right? I love the circles when you have the bridge in the center.
Imagine if the circle goes to the north, completely on the main island.
It is possible. A shift is definitely something that will take place, but if we talk about the center of the circle itself, right? Talk about the center of the zone, that has been taken over by 7C. Now that is a very good strategic approach that they've been able to accumulate for themselves, being at the coastlines, and of course those rocks over there are going to be providing them that cover fire. Along with that, we can see that they've got vehicles as well, so that will definitely be a big reason for 7C's positioning to be able to help out for themselves. And we did see Fear is setting himself up in a compound, so amazing positioning from their side. But of course, as you did talk about it, we shall have to see where the zone is going to be pushing on along, and where the zone pushes, that is where the fights are going to be taking place.
No, definitely. Gangsters, D-Gangsters with one gangster down. There's the 3 men alive. Let's just see what sort of gameplay they have offered to us. But one more promising team, X-Brother. And if we just have a quick look at the circle, at the dead smack center, it's Fear just scouting out the area from the front lines, and the rest of the players just checking if anyone is on the side. But I guess the circle has something else to offer. Now 7C is a big challenge for them, and not only 7C is a lot of team. If we talk about TRZ is completely away from this position, Gremlin Storm have a real good shy of this game. And also with that being said, look at the positioning, look at the split with which C9 are there at the position. But as soon as we just spoke, I guess 7Cs, they were ready with their boats. And no, it's not the boat, it's just the vehicle that they're jumping with which into the water. And as soon as they are into the water, they have to leave that off, because the vehicle will not float on the water.
Dude, I am loving this. I mean, I called for the PUBG gods to bring in a zone like this, and that is exactly what they have delivered in the first game itself, bringing it down towards that bridge camp sort of situation that DRS had going for themselves. It definitely is going to be working for them, but it seems like well, the kill is definitely not going to be confirmed. He did get the few damaging shots onto the player, but Rebel with the Scarrel is trying his little best, but of course that distance is a bit too far away, and the player is going to be able to walk out of that position now again. That means that DRS have given away their information, and of course the zone is also not going to be favoring them, so they're going to be moving away from that. Even though they had a perfect setup on that bridge, it is just not going to be working. On the other front, it is going to be X-Brothers, as we can see in the kill feed, taking on a fight against the players of Air Gurkha right here. 2RGR, a team that I was talking about from Nepal, has been brought down to their knees as 2 men remain, and 2 have already been punished quite badly. So now the conversation is going to be for the side of this team. Will they be able to get the revive on their teammates? Because X-Brothers is definitely on top of it, and this is where a third party can definitely be predicted as well.
Oh yes, no two is doubt about that. I don't really know how much profitable it is for 2RGR to indulge themselves in such sort of circle shift, but I really want observers to have again a quick look at the map as to how many teams have now rotated and made a move into the central lines of the circle. Out of the blues, out of the zone, there are just 2 teams just fighting and battling their metal out, having some ego being pushed out. It's 2RGR, X-Brother, both having detrimental amount of damage. But once if we get to just have a glimpse of the minimap, we'll have a clear picture of what and where the team stands for, because for the moment a lot of teams are actually making a traversing situation for themselves. And it seems like Gremlin Storm, the team that I really had a very quick and a keen eye set up onto them, for the moment they are just been banned for different directions. It's Evilai just bleeding off. Badriv has gone down. It's just up to Kapshi and Rafat.
Absolutely, and again now I do want to take the viewers' attention towards 7C's positioning, right? We did see them on towards the northern side of the map right now,
They were
of the
just
zone,
ready.
but now exactly, but now
They
they've
were ready.
re-collaborated themselves and they are going to find themselves onto the military base once again in the center of the zone. So that is definitely going to be working for them. On the other front, as we talk about that exact same position that we see 7C at, now it is going to be NRC's players who are going to be taking down TRZ one by one. But both these teams now have to get into the water and go all the way out towards the military zone itself, and that is where things are going to get trickier because there are so many teams, as we see on the mini-map as well, who are stuck onto the northern island, and they are going to have to get into the water. There is no way at all that the teams on the military base are going to allow that to happen easily, that is.
And definitely, and before that happens, there are already 3 teams pretty much close to where the shorelines are. It's TRZ, we have NRC, and also one team in the backlines. So it is going to be 3-sided affair, and in between TRZ having completely sandwiched from one side from NRC and from different directions. Not looking good for them as for the moment. It's also Venom Legend. He also needs to make a move, but Rare FPS, he didn't have any other option than to just let his vehicle with himself fly into the water, and then they just wait. But as soon as they try to make a move into the circle, it's already 7Cs on the other side of this way that will be waiting for them just to welcome them. But before that happens, NRC is just trying to rack up a lot of kills because I guess Doom, he doesn't even have any first aid, and I guess he has already given up.
Absolutely, and the third team that you were talking about right on the coastline right here is going to be the side of something that I wanted to touch upon for the side of NRC as well as TRZ. There is going to be a conversation about which team tries to hold on to the coastline more, because as soon as you're in the water, you're a dead fish. You're a dead fish, and this is where Venom Legends can definitely take on a lot of kills for themselves, but they are also going to have to be very cautious and careful because, as we can see in the mini-map, that they were taking on shots, but they are also going to have to get into the zone. So, question is, will Venom Legends try and get the kill and the elimination point, or are they going to try and jump into the water, being one of the dead fish, to try and get into the zone? Because again, I mean, yes, from the northern side, you are going to move on along towards the military base, but on the military base itself, you have teams that are eagerly, patiently waiting for those dead fish to come onto the coastlines, onto the beach, and that is where DRS is waiting as well. We're going to be trying to eliminate them one by one.
Rebel, along with Killer, is just hunting the players out of the water. DRS in complete position. Look at the way they are actually holding themselves up. They really have a very good ridge. Kings of BD and DRS Gaming pretty much close to where they're positioned, and then we have 7Cs in the back vicinity holding all these compounds. I guess DRS Gaming didn't have any option other than this, otherwise they could have opted for the compounds. But for the moment, it's DRS anyhow, just finding themselves in the position. But the rule going down, smokes are being deployed. Now DRS Gaming can have multiple players logged upon them because they have already created a lot of sounds. And as soon as the rest of the team come closer towards them, they just have to be pretty much cautious about it.
Absolutely. I was just about to point out that we're 18.5 minutes in and 16 teams still remain. But as soon as I was about to say that, Paradox is going to be brought down to their knees. The first team to get eliminated on that 16th spot. But good enough for Paradox because they did get, thanks to G1's play, they did get those elimination points for themselves. And now it is Kings of BD's play who are just patiently waiting for these dead fish to come out onto the beach. And this is where Mehfooz Whitey is going to try and eliminate the players of SA right here, where indeed Savage are going to try to get behind that rock. It seems like that is going to be the option that they possibly have right now, and that is going to work out for them. So a GG play being showcased from the side of SA, and that is going to definitely allow them to get onto the beach itself, and behind them still in the water. Let's see where exactly are those two teams going to be waiting out to.
The rule finally connects some shots on Gremlin Storm. So Gremlin Storm, they were already onto this island. If you remember, they dropped onto the area of Novorupnoy, and the place at where now the fight is actually panning out, that was just, I guess, 700 to 800 meters far away. And now it has been already dominated by a team that jumped onto the northern side of the map. But in between, we can get to see a Savage Esports player has anyhow managed to make a move onto the island. I guess it was just the mercy by which they just survived. else Mahfouz along with the rest of the players coming in from the sides of Kings of BD, they wouldn't have let them survive for any moment. But it is what it is at the point of the moment. We have also seen Nine joining him to the fight. We just have two teams that has been kicked out of the lobby. That has been Paradox and Kings of BD. The rest, a lot of teams relies on their at least 2 to 3 players.
Dude, Elementrix is definitely playing their A game right now. They've been able to bring down C9 easily, one by one by one. S9 players going down and no retaliation being showcased from their side because Elementrix is definitely on top of it. Along with that, we did just see that DRS from far, far away were also taking on a few shots towards the players of S9. So definitely, even though S9 had a really good position and the drop that they had on the military base was working in their favor, it seems like they will not be allowed to take on points for themselves. On the other front, as we did just see right here on this exact same playing ground, there were Kings of BD's players. Mahfouz YT was trying to hold the fort against the players of SA, but not going to be allowed for long because Kings of BD were eliminated. SA had their revenge. All the players were able to get onto the coastlines, onto the beach now, and now Savage Esports, this is where the moment and the glory for them is going to be showcased because they are all 4 players alive, 6 eliminations for themselves, and look at the dead fish waiting. The points waiting for the side of Savage.
Going up against 60 feet already on the name of Savage. That's the question of the hour. They have multiple fishes. They just need one big net and just carve out all these players out of the body. But I was really interested to see what sort of fight Savage Esports has to offer to DRS Gaming because just in their neighborby vicinity we can get to see we have DRS Gaming. But before that happens, it's not only Savage Esports, it's also Elementrix that is getting a lot of bonus points. It is also getting a lot of elimination points out of all these players and they are just pretty much helpless.
This is going to be quite a chaotic finish to the first game right here at PMPL qualifiers because again you talk about the amount of players, the amount of teams. We've got 12 teams, 34 players alive and so many of them are just in the water and that's not anything working for them, yes, but on the other front, as you talk about the teams that are on the coastlines as well, these teams are also going to have to be really careful because there are 3 to 4 teams right next to Elementrix right here who are also going to be taking on the shots towards the players of Elementrix. But look at Inkus right here, he is not deterred, he wants those points for himself. With a Scarl, he's definitely trying to push on his luck. 7 eliminations for the side of Elementrix. I mean, GG play being showcased from the side of this team. And now if we look onto the kill feed, there are just players that is from the side of DRS that are going to push on along against the players of Elementrix.
This is the fight that I was talking about. Savage Esports going up against DRS. 1 great blows of 2 players, Ribble and Delta going down. Within the blink of an eye, seems like DRS has been completely torn apart. There we have it. The fight that we all preempted for a so long time has been just wiped in few seconds.
That
is it
was
the
a
same
savage
team?
grenade. That was a
Just
savage grenade.
Living up to their name, Savage Esports. Remember this name.
Wow, now
what
we
a
have
game.
2 teams. Right, we've got only 2 teams on the beach. No, in fact, correction, 3 teams. We've got 7C as well in the middle. We've got Savage on towards the right hand side flank, and of course we do have Elementrix as well. But now the question is going to be, will 7C try and retaliate? Because again, when we talk about 7C, they had a really good position in the zone, in the circle, but as the game progressed along, we look on towards those points. The points are not working for their side because Savage is just racking up those elimination points for themselves. 12 elimination for the side of this team, and the game is still not done. And you talk about dead fish in the sea, dude. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You keep counting.
6 teams. We've got 6 teams in the water right
counting.
now. This is just. Oh wow.
This is the
first good game.
This is the very first game. This is the very first game of the South Asia qualifiers. And with that being said, it's 2RGR bidding goodbye to this lobby. Just down with 8 teams, 22 players alive. And I guess Savage Esports look unstoppable at this moment. And the new update also brings you, there is no instant conversion of dead body into the crate. You get revival underwater. But even if they do so, players are pretty much competitive that they will be able to find all these players who are trying to hide themselves into this water. Savage Esports not only have their eyes set upon all these players who are underwater, but now they are having a keen eyes onto Elementrix. So one wrong peek and Hershey goes down.
Well, definitely what a play being showcased from the side of Hershey, because indeed he did have 8 elimination points for himself, but as soon as he moved away behind that crate to try and take on the fight towards the players of Elementrix. It was IISL who were just absolutely able to pincer him down and take on that miraculous point for himself. But again, we still do have 3 players remaining from the side of Savage Esports. 17 eliminations for the side of this team. 17 players alive in total. 7C have completely been pincered down. Hustler playing a really good fanned out approach right here in this fight, where he does have the cover of that tree. Along with that, of course, he has the position of 7C as well. But as soon as that smoke is dissipating, his position might be given away. On the other front, you talk about 7C. They have that car, that McLaren, that's going to be definitely providing them that cover fire. But for how long? Because TRZ is also in the vicinity.
I would still say Savage Esports has a better position than what 7Cs are having.
Oh,
at the
definitely.
moment. Because the way they have actually the fanned out approach, all the 3 players in 3 different split. But as soon as that I said, Precious secures 1 more knock onto the players. And look at this, TRZ has been given an opportunity to find himself onto the land, and this is not looking good for 7C's Esports, because 1 random sprays and already Fear is down on his 20 HP. But it seems that TRZ Esports is pretty much interested into the players that are trying to be the fish, and Noob Alliance are just falling down.
Well, what a play being showcased in the first game itself, and Hustler on the side from Savage definitely taking on the fight to the players of 7C itself, and this is where Hustler will definitely try and dominate, and his teammate will get... Exactly, his teammate will just confirm that elimination for the side of 7C, and now we're down to 3 teams remaining. We've got we've got Savage, we've got, of course, NRC who are in the water, and we've got TRZ's players as well. And again, as you just mentioned, Savage have showcased an incredible play right here with these 3 players. 23 elimination points to this team, and Harshay is just rocking that shot with a bang in the first game.
Mamba tried to deny that kill by jumping himself into the water and just find himself into the water, but that was not the case. Savage Esports, total 41 points, 20. One player went down, and as soon as that M249, that was the game. That was the game for Venom Legends. That M249 action, and DRS Gaming really didn't have that courage to come under that heavy cover fire that was being provided from the rest of the player. Venom Legend, all in all, hats off to you. Really well executed game.
Definitely, a very well executed game indeed. The conversations just being so in that final push from the side of the Real Soldiers. I personally thought that DRS could very well take this, because Void was living his own front altogether onto his backline approach of that mountain. So it was like a 4v3 affair where indeed Venom Legends, I think it was Steel Shot, who was able to get that and able to in fact get a knock and an elimination point against the players of DRS, where of course the conversation from a 4v3 situation turned into a 3v3 and DRS were brought down to their knees. And again, perfect approach from Venom Legends. The conversation being on point, the synergistic play that was required from the side of this team. That is what they've delivered in this Mirrorverse. So that is good. Again, this is just day number 1. So a lot of things are going to be showcased